There we go. Camera on. There we are. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome into the rant. I am Pugs Moran. Is it still the rant? I'm not entirely sure. It's me, Pugs, just talking about the world coming on at a weird time today. I know. I try to fit these in wherever I can. I'm trying to do the best I can. I hope you appreciate that. Actually, it doesn't matter if you appreciate it or not, because I do this for me and me alone. Been doing it for 3 years, since 2021. I see Peter. I see Adam. That's it. That's it for the chat room right now. There we go. There's Taronda. Here comes the peeps. I love it. All right. Just realized something, and it was very upsetting to me. I look like the Six Flags guy. That's right. Hey, kids. I'm gonna pull a bus up in your cul-de-sac, and I'm gonna open the doors, and your parents are all gonna let you get in, and we're gonna go somewhere. We're gonna go to Six Flags, and I'm gonna dance. Look at me, seriously, I look like the Six Flags guy. It's the glasses. It's these glasses that I bought. Hi, Barney. Barney's here. Yes, Peter. Okay, thank you. Peter appreciates that I do this and try to fit it in where I can. I've been all over the Metroplex this morning. Oh my God. I've been way up north. I was in Plano. I was in Addison. I had to double back to the back nine last night. Of course, last night, every Tuesday, trash trivia at the back nine. I had to swing by over there. I left my charger there. Oh, it was just a morning from hell. And then, lucky me, coming back down here to the beautiful Kelly Moore Memorial Studios at the E-Gallery in the fabulous Design District here in Dallas. I had to come down. Now, you Dallas folks, you know what's happening here. I had to come down 35 into the city. Now, I exited Oaklawn, right? So I get pretty significantly into the guts of the city. And I wasn't even thinking. And I got on 35, and it's moving. It's like, yeah, it's a rainy, gray Wednesday in Dallas. It's moving. Traffic is okay. This is fine. And then everything stopped. Oh, man. Why? Because yours truly drove right into the Dallas ice shooting. Right there off 35 and Empire Central. That's my Schlotzsky's. If you've been watching on the news, that is my Schlotzsky's. That is the nearest Schlotzsky's to me. I was at that Schlotzsky's 2 weeks ago, which is really my big takeaway from this whole divisive story that greeted us this morning as we awoke here in the Metroplex. My takeaway being is that we don't talk enough about Schlotzsky's. That's right, Schlotzsky's, the most unique of the sandwich shop chain. Everybody else is doing torpedo or submarine-shaped sandwiches, not Schlotzsky's. They're doing it circular, and their bread is like what? What is that, a Thomas's English muffin? I don't know what kind of bread this is. Schlotzsky's. Crazy underrated. It's where all the media is staging. Okay, so when I say I got caught up in the traffic coming down here to the Design District, I may have done it intentionally. I don't know. I may have just been a looky-loo trying to see how close I can get. And guess what? I got really close. Want to know how close? I got so close that I waved at Ed Lavandera of CNN. Waved at him. Hi, Ed. Hi, Dallas-based CNN correspondent Ed Lavandera. As I drove by right there, by the way, Ed Lavandera, he's stationed at the Burger King. Let's look at this on a map, shall we? Let's go to the map, the Google Maps. Here we go. This is happened this morning. I suppose we should probably just give people the details if you are unfamiliar. This morning at 7 a.m., Dallas ice shooter, that's what we're calling this. We got a name for him, or at least the Daily Mail is going with a name. This is the Daily Mail. They write these stories in the most colorful of way. They're one of the most, I'm not going to say trustworthy anymore, because there's nothing that is trustworthy anymore. I don't know. I have no faith in institutions, and we'll get into that in a minute. But the Daily Mail has always been kind of a tabloid. But, you know, these stories, they put the stories out first. Fact check and be damned. They're just going to put the stories out. So let's just, you know, as I read this to you, let's understand that this is the Daily Mail. It says here, a sniper who killed 2 migrants and wounded several others in a shooting at Dallas Immigration and Customs Enforcement Facility has been identified as Joshua John, 29 years old. I looked up Joshua John. I always do that now. Whenever a name is given to us, you got to go to Facebook and Instagram. I found a LinkedIn page for maybe him. I don't know. It seemed like he worked at a pot shop for like 6 months. So I'm thinking it's probably a younger dude. You don't see a lot of, people my age working in pot shops. Hold on. Let me get back to the story. There you go. Hold on. I'm trying to do a couple of things at once. I want to keep the chat room involved. It's kind of a new promise. April says, got a name and an old mugshot. Yeah, I saw a mugshot. I also saw there's all kinds of things floating around online. I saw pictures that were supposedly of him on the rooftop. Looked very posed. He's like leaning. He's like not even on the ground. Like gravity hasn't even taken. He's like leaning. It looks kind of like a Halloween dummy, but I don't know. I don't look at morbid pictures, in my spare time. So I don't really have an expertise to be able to tell what a dead body looks like, but I don't know. All right. Thank you, April. Yeah. Joshua John is the name that we got here. Jeff says, never trust a guy with 2 first names. I know we've all heard that, but I don't know if I believe that. My name on my birth certificate could be 2 first names. So I don't know if I agree with that. The last name has been used as a first name, although it's not a common first name. I don't know, Jeff, if I believe that. Let's see here. So I drove by the shooting. Let's more details, right? Let's get more details. And again, this is from the Daily Mail because I choose the Mail and the Post for this show because they write the most colorfully. All right, let's get. Nope, that's not the story. Jesus, I lost the story. Excuse me, Jesus. I'm trying not to take his name in vain. Not because I believe in any of that, but I said it the other day, and somebody was like, "Don't say that." And I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? If that's the kind of thing that bugs people, that is perfectly. I can fix that. I don't have to. All right. I don't need to be able to scream Jesus whenever I'm upset about something. All right. The sniper's been identified. He's 29 years old. Joshua John. I found his LinkedIn page. Might be him. I don't know. Not sure. Multiple law enforcement sources have named John as the shooter. They say he opened fire from the rooftop of a building adjacent to the ICE detention center. Drove by that building too. Didn't drive right by. The access road is closed. But I was in the neighborhood. I got off at Regal, which I think they closed Regal now. Or is it Royal? No, which one is it? One of those two. I don't know. I'm not born and raised here. The R's. You know what else screws me up here in Dallas? One, Beltline. Beltline seems to be accessible from anywhere in the entirety of North Texas. If you're in Fort Worth, you can just get on Beltline. Anyway, Beltline is screwy. But also, I can never remember the difference between Spring Creek and Spring Valley. One is way up there and one is like manageable. One is by the Galleria. Anyway, Regal and Royal are also like that for me. I'm not sure which one is where. But I got off and I was driving around, so I saw Ed Lavendera and I waved at him. He didn't acknowledge me, but whatever. I may not have even waved. I just think I added that because it's a better element for storytelling. The bloodbath this morning unfolded at around 7 a.m. Central Time. The gunman, all right, look at this. This is the ultra-conservative British tabloid newspaper, The Daily Mail, okay? Here's what they say. This is what they're reporting. The bloodbath unfolded at the facility in Texas shortly after 7 a.m. Central Time when the gunman targeted migrants on an unmarked transport van before killing himself. All right, so where was the van? Because as I drove by and as I look at the satellite pictures, of the area, was the van in the back parking lot? Because at first people were like, oh, they must have shot from the rooftop of the apartment building. I'm like, I don't know if that's possible. Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but where exactly did the bodies get hit? Was it out in front? Like that I'm able to see on 35? Or is it like, in the back? Because there's a pretty large back area there. Anyway, we'll look at the building that they think the sniper shot from. Snipers, too. Snipers having a moment. Everybody's a sniper now. Doesn't seem like we had this many sniping attacks. I mean, sure, we had the Beltway sniper. That scared the shit out of us for about, a month. Halloween around this time, back about 20 years ago or so. Probably more than that, the Beltway sniper. Then we glorified sniping with Chris Kyle. And, as I've said a million times, I knew Chris Kyle. I knew Chris Kyle well. I don't recognize him in that movie. I'm sorry. My work with the charities that I was involved in here just prior to about a year before he died is when I first met Chris, and we worked on a couple of different projects together. I liked them, but anyway, point is this: sniping's back. Sniping's back in a big way. Had the guy who tried to snipe Trump, right? Missed Trump, got his ear. Killed a fireman, killed a regular dude, just a regular Joe. Killed that guy. Then we had, of course, the Charlie Kirk sniper. We also had that Ruth guy who was just in the news yesterday. He was like going to try and snipe Trump on the golf course. Remember that guy? Charlie Kirk sniper, and now we got this sniper. So snipers are having a moment. We're not safe anywhere, man. Just anywhere there's an elevated position, there's some psycho who's off his meds. Catch a stray. Speaking of catch a stray, we've got some video that we're going to show later in the show today. Just regular, innocent, everyday dude catching a stray, because that's the world that we're apparently navigating these days. The bloodbath unfolded at the facility around 7 a.m. The gunman targeted migrants on an unmarked transport van before killing himself, says the Daily Mail. Multiple law enforcement sources named John as the shooter who opened fire from the rooftop of the building adjacent to the ICE detention center. I think this is like, there seems to be a legal office to the direct south of the building is a large, brand new apartment complex. Brand new to the DC Sniper was 2002. Thank you, Adam. Well, I knew it was back then, way back then. Let's see here. It's breaking news. The news is breaking in front. It's not breaking. It's developing now. Let's get back into the story. Multiple law enforcement sources named John as the shooter who opened fire from the rooftop of a building adjacent to the ICE detention center. Homeland Security spokesman Tricia McLaughlin told CNN that the death toll stood at 2 as of Wednesday afternoon. A third victim was in serious condition. Victims were ICE detainees, and no law enforcement were injured in the shooting. Officials said at a press conference on Wednesday morning that bullets found by the shooter's body were engraved with anti-ICE messages. And FBI Director Kash Patel shared an image of the bullets reading anti-ICE. So they say. I mean, man, I don't know. And you shouldn't either. Where I'm at today on this thing is exactly where you guys should be. Unless particular details that you read today are what you want to believe, what you want to be true. Then maybe you're just one of those people that are still drinking the left Kool-Aid or the right Kool-Aid. He was anti-ICE. He shot nothing but detainees. I don't know what is going on here, and neither do you. And the unfortunate reality is, as I sit here today, and I realized it this morning, when they were so quick with a name and so quick with, the ICE bullets found. And then I saw these sketchy fucking pictures that were floating around of what looked like a Halloween dummy on a rooftop. I said to myself, or I thought to myself, I didn't say it out loud, I'm not crazy. I thought to myself, it's official. I no longer have any faith in any institutions. And what happens now? I mean, that's sort of the bedrock of this whole thing that we've got here in this country. Our institutions. Fall back on our institutions. Our banking system. Our economic system. Our government. Specific aspects of the government. Like, I'll give you an example. We may have always, to a degree, been divided about whatever administration, whatever political party is in control at the moment. But I never extended that to things like the FBI. I never extended that to things like Homeland Security. I rest on the idea that we have independent operating institutions, checks and balances in this country. And this morning I was like, I mean, what? What? I don't know. I mean, it's not that I don't know how to feel about this realization that I no longer trust what my government says. Maybe we can get back there. Maybe we can get back to a point where I didn't really think the FBI was actively engaging in a narrative manipulation. But these days, I don't know. I don't know. After the Epstein shit, are you kidding me? And by the way, breaking huge news on the Epstein story. I mean, everybody that is in charge of the Epstein thing now, the authorities, the governors of these institutions, these are all people who, for the past 10 years or whatever, have convinced me and you and all of us collectively, bipartisanly, that there is something here to the Epstein story that we are not being told. That's who these people were. And now they're in a position to do something, and they're like, nothing to see here. I don't trust any of them. Democrats, Republicans, it doesn't matter. The genie is out of the bottle. We have crossed the Rubicon, folks. Oh, look at the bullets. They say anti-ice. No law enforcement officers were injured, just detainees. I don't know what to believe. But I do go back when I feel frustrated, and maybe we should all do this collectively, when I feel frustrated about not knowing what to believe. I go back to it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if I believe that this guy was a Republican, conservative, MAGA guy who wanted to kill a bunch of people who he saw as less than human. The migrants, the immigrant, the illegals, whatever we are labeling them. That's one way. That's all he did. He just climbed up on a roof and started shooting detainees. Got 3 of them. No cops. But then, the official story that we got really quickly, man. And it seems like, I don't know if that's a good thing. Wow, look how effective our law enforcement is. I don't know if it's that or it's like, okay, how do we get people to... I don't want to do that. I believe there could be, and this is the problem, because I believe there could be. I don't know. I don't believe it. I don't want to believe it. But I do believe that there could be a very direct effort going on in this country right now to get us to hate each other more than we ever have. Because if we're doing that, we're not asking about Epstein anymore. Do I believe that's happening? I don't know, and neither do you. But the problem and the frustration comes from the idea that it could be happening. I'm not one of these streamers who's going to sit here and tell you, folks, look at these facts. Fuck you and fuck all of that shit. Those people have figured out how to commoditize hot takes. That's all these people are. I'm not going to say any names, but go ahead. The biggest fucking names in YouTube and all of that. None of these people are genuine. They have all figured out that I can rile up the rubes and I can make big money. And if I rile up the right rubes and get them to vote a certain way, there's going to be all kinds of dark fucking money coming my way. And that's why we don't know anything. Nobody out there, whether it's, I'm not going to say any names, whether it's so-and-so on the right today who's out there saying that this is obviously another example of the radical left starting the Civil War, or somebody on the, wait, that was the right position. There was another person, a person on the left who's very high profile, although let's be honest, there are no high profile lefties the way there are high profile righties. The righties have dominated this game. All their YouTube watchers and all of that shit. That's huge on the internet. There are not a lot of lefties out there, but the ones that are irritating. I saw one today. He wrote, probably 4 sentences about that. This is a lefty guy, a well-known one. He wrote like 4 sentences about this, and he included white man in it 3 times. 3 times. 4 sentences, you had to mention white man 3 times. Oh, fuck you, man. So everybody's spinning us up. And I in this moment, I am now I'm going to lean on the thing that we all must remind each other of. It doesn't fucking matter. If we're frustrated because we don't know his motivation, it doesn't fucking matter, because can't we all agree he was a lunatic? And anything that a lunatic does after we decide he's a lunatic has 0 credibility. So if he's up there representing the left and you people are trying to paint him as some fucking example of what the average lefty is like, you're a piece of shit, okay? Because he's a crazy person. Just like the dude who took out Charlie Kirk. He's a crazy person. And it doesn't matter why, because whatever he thinks or however he lives his life, he's living his life as a crazy person. So stop it. Well, more white men are involved in schools. Shut the fuck up, man. It's a crazy person. There are crazy white men all over. There are crazy black men. There are crazy Asians. Crazy is the thing that we must deal with first. That's complicated. Oh my God, that's complicated. We have to really look at that. Wait, we got to treat people? Wait a second. So crazy's complicated. What's easy is saying, this is one of them that did this to us. That's easy. Because when it's the them and us, now you can play one side against the other. And when you're playing one side against the other, they ain't looking at you. And that's what I think is happening with this government. I think that a very real stoking of civil unrest seems to be taking place. And we can resist it. We can. All we got to do is go, these are fucking crazy people. We don't know anything. Yes, I would love to believe that he actually wrote anti-ICE on there, because now when I argue with my friend who's a libtard, or when I argue online, I can point to this picture. Well, I don't know. That picture was released pretty quickly. It certainly is convenient for the side. You know, I don't know. I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to believe. The left wants you to believe that he's just a white MAGA guy. He hates Mexicans. That's what it is. It's that easy. Why does he hate Mexicans? Because he's fucking crazy, okay? So now discredit that, all right? Doesn't matter. He's crazy. Doesn't like Mexicans. No, he was trying to shoot ICE agents. I don't care. What I do care about is that crazy people seem to have access to weapons where they can climb up on rooftops and start shooting people willy-nilly. I don't care what their motivation is. They're shooting people. Just shooting people. Here, let's show you some pictures. I got some pictures here that we'll show, and then we'll take a look at the area where this is happening, and I'll show you where I think the shooter was, but I'm not entirely sure. What do I know? Nope, that's not the one we want. That is not it. Sorry. That's another story we're going to have to get into. All right, let's see. We got any good pictures? Oh, there you go. Okay, so here are pictures of the gun, of the bullets, right? Look at them in the rain. It's real because it's raining. Yeah. So right there's the picture. It says anti-ICE. Here's the thing. I'll believe it. I will believe this, because this is my new rule now. This is how high I've set the bar. I'll believe it when every cop that was on the scene gets his handwriting analyzed by a team of handwriting analysts, so we can rule out that a cop didn't just write that before. A cop wouldn't do that. Yeah, they would. They absolutely would. Hi, cop family here. Car has cop plates. Cops would absolutely do that. I know them. So I don't know. And why do I think that? I think that because I have no faith in our institutions. Let's see. What other pictures do we have? Any other good pictures here? Let's go. We're looking at the Daily Mirror. Ted Cruz showed up. Ted Cruz was funny. I don't know if you guys saw the press conference this morning. Everybody who was important spoke, right? We had the mayor of Dallas. He showed up first. Another shooting, another horrible shooting in a Republican mayor's city. Yeah. Brandon Johnson's up there. He's got the R next to his name now because he took some money, probably. What do you mean? My campaign could be well funded, better if I'm a Republican? Okay. Dude's been involved in liberal politics his whole life. All of a sudden, he's now a Republican. Whatever. I don't know anything about the mayor of Dallas. The mayor of Dallas has no power. It's not like other cities' mayors. It's just a figurehead kind of position. But Brandon, he got up there and what's his name? Is it Brandon? Who's the mayor of Chicago? I don't even know who the mayor of Chicago is. Am I confusing the mayor of Chicago with the mayor of Dallas? No, the mayor of Chicago, I know he's not a Republican. But the mayor of Dallas switched doesn't matter. Mayor got up, he spoke. Then who did we have? We had the FBI guy, boots on the ground, a very cool guy, right? I'm Dallas field office director of operation, whatever. That guy got up. He told us, the details. Then we had somebody from the Dallas Police Department spokesman got up and spoke. And then they said, that's going to end the press conference. And everybody walked away. And as everybody was walking away, and as you can hear the murmur of the gathered press, Ted Cruz steps up to the mic. He's like, I just want to take this opportunity. They didn't want him to speak. They were like, yeah, you can speak, but not as a part of the official thing. We're going to wrap up our press conference, and then if you want to stand here, Cancun Ted. Yeah. All right. Let's see. What else? There he is. There's Ted Cruz speaking. He was appalled by it. Cruz said this is the third shooting in Texas directed at ICE or CBP. This must stop. To every politician who is using rhetoric demonizing ICE, he's talking about the Democrats, and demonizing CBP, stop. To every politician demanding that ICE agents be doxxed and calling for people to go after their families, stop. This has very real consequences. Look, in America, we disagree. That's fine. He says that's the democratic process, but your political opponent are not Nazis, unless they are. I mean, yeah, unless they are. The Nazis are a real party, and it is a real ideology. Now, I'm not assigning that tag to anybody that I can name right now in the United States House of Representatives or the Senate for that matter, but they're out there, and your opponent might be a Nazi. Do I agree that we're throwing that word around? Yeah, but not nearly as much as we're throwing pedophile around. We throw pedophile around. That's from the right, especially. The right is obsessed with pedophiles. And if you are obsessed with pedophiles, then focus. We got this Epstein thing going on. All of a sudden, MAGA doesn't care so much about pedophiles. It says here, ICE Director Todd Lyons said that he was putting ICE facilities on a higher alert status in response to today's shooting. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said in a statement that his state fully supports ICE and vowed to step up deportations as a result of the shooting. He says this assassination will not slow our arrest, detention, and deportation of illegal immigrants. We will work with ICE and the Dallas Police Department to get to the bottom of the assassin's motive. Well, Kash Patel is already, chimed in. He's the director of the FBI. He's supposed to be the final word on it. We know. This guy was an anti-ICE lefty. Man, we do this show. We've done almost no discussion of the whole ICE thing. Why? Because I find it to be one of those unnecessarily divisive topics that I'd just rather not wade into. I will say this. I don't know that the illegal immigrant problem is as big as everybody says. Every illegal that I've ever known has been a pretty hardworking, really good family dude. So I don't know. I mean, when you got people here that are here illegally and they're doing, other things other than working 3 shifts at, some rando restaurant on Beltline, washing dishes and then mowing yards and all that. When they're not doing that, if they're out there, causing drunk driving accidents or raping or robbing or running, some gang, yeah, that's a problem. But I don't really see like the average dude who snuck into this country looking for a better life and, kind of laying low because he knows he's illegal. I don't see that guy as that big of a problem. So I guess what I'm saying with the whole ICE thing, I support the rounding up of dangerous criminals who are in this country illegally. I also support maybe a little more organized system to allow people who are in this country and not causing a problem and who are actually paying taxes and who are actually doing things for us, like making the best damn tacos we ever had or whatever. I think those people, I think that we need to be nuanced and decent and thoughtful. So that's all I want to say about this whole ICE thing. It has, because of the way we treat each other now, become something that can't even be discussed with nuance. It has to be, they're all legal migrants, immigrants. Like, I've heard people like no longer make the distinction between illegals and just immigrants. My God, we're all immigrants. I guess maybe a very few of you aren't. My family been here since day. Fuck you. Most of our families came here in the 1880s, 1920s. We're the greatest country on the face of the earth. We became the most powerful nation the good Lord has ever presented to the rest of the globe. And we did it because we're all a bunch of different people. We're Germans and we're Irish and we're Jewish and we're Muslim and we're black and we're Chinese and that's who we are, man. Melting pot. So, I don't demonize immigrants. I welcome immigrants. I think it's cool. Here's the other thing that I've always said about immigrants. I don't know that I would be an immigrant. Like if I grew up in El Salvador, right? And it just sucked. And there was this dream over the horizon of opportunity to make minimum wage in a taco shop in El Paso or whatever, there was that dream of that opportunity for me. And I'm in, wherever, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Central America. I don't think I pick up and leave. I really don't. I don't think I'm that guy. I think there are a lot of people who are like, I'm reaching for it. I'm going to grab that brass ring. I'm going to try. I'm going to crawl on my belly. I'm going to pack everything into one suitcase. And I'm going for it because you only live once. Aren't those the best of us? I'm saying I'm not the best of us. I'd be like, sitting in some I'd have a pet goat. I'd be sitting there, no plan for anything. Just, sí, señor. I'm 55 years old. I live in El Salvador. My entire family, at least the good ones, they left. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that the immigrant class, man, like they're the doers. They're the ones who are driven and motivated. At least that's how I like to look at them. That's how I look at my ancestors. That's how I look at, my friends. All my friends growing up, they all had a grandma who spoke a different language. I don't know. The nuance of the conversation is I think that every right-thinking individual believes that there is some good that can come out of rounding up violent criminals who are here illegally anyway. It's just, what do we do when that gnat scoops up, a pretty decent dude, Pedro, who's your leaf blower guy. And then you go out to dinner later that week and you run into him and he's working in the kitchen at some restaurant you love in your neighborhood. That dude, that's a good dude with the two little kids. And all of a sudden, we've got this thoughtless kind of giant net that we're throwing. And I think we could probably be more nuanced about it. And I think the president leads the charge here. And it's all about his rhetoric. It's all about him being an asshole. I make no bones about the fact that I think Trump is an asshole. Trump and I would not be friends. If we were in high school together, we would not be friends. He's an arrogant, narcissistic asshole. He's also, and I say this, with great admiration, one of the greatest salesmen and manipulators and talkers and just shit talkers I've ever seen. He's entertaining as fuck. He's by far the most entertaining president of the United States. That used to concern me. Because I didn't think the president needed to be entertaining. But honestly, looking at our system the way it is in 2025, president's becoming a figurehead. President's just becoming the head of a political party that won the election most recently. That's it. So whatever, here we go. The next guy, the Democrat or chick, the Democrats run, that person's going to suck too. We don't have any good people out there. But yeah, the president could probably tone down the rhetoric. I mean, just yesterday at the UN, he threw some bombs. All right, let's look at this. Let's take a look at the area, and then we'll move on because there are other things that we need to talk about here today. Oh, my goodness. Hold on. Give me a second here. Okay, all righty. Here we go. This is what we're looking at. This is 35. There's the Schlotzskys. This is my Schlotzskys. This is the nearest one to me. I went a couple weeks ago. I love Schlotzskys. If we take nothing away from this, let's be reminded that Schlotzskys is out there, and they are available, and they are delicious, because I think we forget. All right, so this Schlotzskys is what we keep seeing in the shots, but this is why we see it in the shots. I don't know. Computer's acting like a dickhead right now. It's not moving. I'm not able to scroll. When I X out, like I click X, it takes like 3 seconds for the page to go away. So apparently I've got a shitty internet. All right, here you go. This is the Burger King. The Burger King right here on the corner, Empire Central. This is where all the media is gathered. This is where I saw Ed Lavandera. Yeah, I pretended I wanted a Whopper. They wouldn't let me get close because they got it all. So I had to come down here, and then they were U-turning you back. And Ed Lavandera was standing right here. Here he was. And I was like, hi, Ed Lavandera of CNN. All right, so all the media and all the press conferences and all that stuff is happening right here at the Burger King. This is the Schlotzskys that we see in all of the TV shots. Getting a good pub there. This is the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Office, okay? This is where it took place. Here's the apartment building. This is the apartment. It's probably like a 4 or 5 story apartment building. It's pretty tall, pretty big. You can see that it's so new that in this Google map, it's not even built yet. So there is this was originally where they thought the sniper would have taken his shots from, this apartment building complex here. But here, I think it was over here. This is where it's looking like as we get over here. This place right here. There you go. Taking for still moving, not touching it. It's moving on its own. This right here, Bamok Royal Services. This is sort of a nondescript office building with a whole bunch of different, offices in there. This is adjacent. They keep saying it's adjacent to the property. This does look adjacent as they share a very narrow driveway. So I'm believing this somewhere on the roof here is where the shooter took his shots today. This is also the office, this Bamok Royal Services building. It's the office of a number of immigration attorneys. So probably be looking at that angle too. He climbed up on the roof of it. I don't know what that means. The bulk of the police presence. So they've got this whole thing blocked off, starting from here. Although now I think they're all the way down to here, which is, what is this? Regal. Okay, so it is Regal. Yeah, I think they've got this blocked off now. And as you come down 35 right here, following my arrow, as you come down 35, you can see some very interesting things going on. For instance, the access road at this point is completely empty, except for like every 100 yards, a motorcycle cop. There's just like a motorcycle cop just sitting there like every 100 yards or so. And then as we get closer, like over here, this is all blocked off. This has like a big SWAT vehicle on Stemmons here, blocking off the access road. And of course, the Burger King parking lot, this is where I told you where all the media is happening and where everybody's gathering. And then this is the scene right here in front of this. We had media all over this grass median area. which I was like, are they letting them get that close? I don't know. Is this one of them YouTube things where the reporters are arguing with the cops? This is public space. Are you telling me I can't film on, is it one of those deals? I don't know. But this area right here is filled with cameras. Some of them, I'd say more than half of them, left unattended. Just a whole bunch of cameras. And let me tell you, I'm familiar with this neighborhood. People, those are expensive cameras. You don't want to just leave them unattended because there are thousands of homeless and drug addicts in this area who will happily take that $10,000 broadcast quality camera. Anyway, that's where this is all happening. So this is where, can I move it? Yeah, maybe we'll get a different angle. All right, here's the back. See what I mean? This is a pretty extensive back parking lot. I don't know where the intake was. Like, where did the shooting occur? Did the shooting occur here in the back? Did the van pull in, as one would expect, come down the driveway, pull in here around the back, and then get them out here? Okay, which would be the shooter would be right here. It's not very high of a, that's not far away at all. I mean, let's look, right? So, all right, here we're going on the ground. This is the driveway, I imagine, where they, all right, I don't know, maybe this car's in the perfect spot. All right, so maybe this is, or is there an intake? What is this? Okay, not sure. Anyway, you can see this angle right here. I imagine that the shooting occurred somewhere back here. Do we have an update? I don't think we have an update on that. All right, so that's going to do it. Finishing up, here's what we know. We know that 3 people were shot, 2 are dead, including the shooter himself, who took his own life. And we don't know anything else other than anyone that would do something like this, anyone that would be like, hey, it's a good idea and I should totally follow through on it. Anyone who would think that is a crazy person. And that's all we need to take away. We got too many fucking crazy people getting fucking guns. That's all. Let's see here. All right, see, here's Barney. He shot an ICE van. Doesn't mean he targeted migrants. Nope. No, it doesn't. But knowing Barney, I know the story you want to have be the truth. And that's the problem, man. Barney, and I will address this to Adam too, as I like to use these two as the polar opposites of these things. Both of you have stories that you want to be true. And as you see little bits of information that support the story you want to be true, you will then convince yourself that this is obviously the truth. What I'm asking is for everybody to just go, he's a fucking crazy person. It doesn't matter. This is not a win for my side. This is not a win for their side. It's a fucking crazy person, and it doesn't matter. Let's see here. April says, she says a MAGA relative thinks it was a hired cartel hit. Well, sure, because that's fun. That's fun. I think it was another, I think this person's going to turn out to be trans. I'd like to believe this is another trans shooter. Doesn't matter. Does not matter at all. What matters is that we don't give a fuck about crazy people in this country because we have never given any respect to what's going on between the fucking ears. I always say this. We can fix a heart. We can pull a fucking tumor out of a brain. We can set a bone. We can stitch a stab wound. But we have no idea what's happening in our head. No idea. We know so little. Because that's never been important. We've never been comfortable enough as a species on this globe to have time to worry about such things. We were worried about being chased by dinosaurs and, invading hordes. But now we live in a different time, and we need to start looking at other aspects of our overall health. And maybe seeing all these crazy people out there just might make some people take mental health a little bit more serious, because we haven't taken it seriously at all. Peter is in the chat room. Peter says that was pretty sketchy. Why would Kash Patel post pictures of the bullets on social media? I'm right there with you on who the F do we believe. I used to believe. No, what am I saying? You know what? it's not like FBI dudes, used to tweet, right? It's I can't even name. I don't know who's another FBI dude, but it's not like the leader of the FBI was somebody who we would react to their tweets. We're in a different era now. Now we got Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, shit talking on Twitter. I mean, we got the president shit talking on Twitter. What I'm saying is it's different. It's different. The director of the FBI would come out and make a statement, and he was wearing a suit, and he always looked like, I never thought of the director of the FBI as being a libtard or a right guy or MAGA. That was not anything that I ever thought. But now I got to look at Kash Patel and go, this guy has zero credibility. Zero. We thought maybe he was going to give us the Epstein dirt, but zero. Jeff Bellard says political affiliation shouldn't matter. A crazy guy shut up people is all that matters. Thank you, Jeff. Spread the word. Spread the gospel. I mean, what kind of a parasite is watching this happen like it's a TV show? Because that's how we react to these things. They're TV shows. They happen on our TVs, and they're stories, and they're not real, and these are not our children laying dead. These are other people's children. So it becomes a TV show. And how do you make it more entertaining? Well, plot thickens, right? That's how we look at these things. Gotta stop doing that. We just got to start going, wow, another fucking crazy person. That should be what we concern ourselves with. Let me see. A lot of good comments in here. I appreciate that from you guys. April agrees. Yep, something 100% sketchy is going on. We are fucked. I don't know if we're fucked forever. I don't know that we're fucked forever because I honestly don't know that any other administration, whatever administrations come in next, I don't believe any other administration would be able to come close to getting away with the kind of stuff that this administration does. And I think that's the power of Donald Trump's cult of personality. He's a one-off. He's going to do what he's going to do. We got to sit here, and if you don't like him, you got to hold on. And if you do like him, you got to just, live every victory and recognize that this is the greatest political time of your lives, if you're MAGA. But the idea that this continues with somebody who's even worse or somebody, I don't think that's right. I think there will be a correction. Pendulum theory. Everything swings back and forth. Everything. What it doesn't matter what it is. Fashion, politics, the economy. Everything swings back and forth. Anyway, that's my hope. That's my hope for the future. That this just isn't. We're not that. I would like to die somebody who's like, oh, okay, I trust the FBI again. Oh, okay, I trust the Defense Department again. Oh, okay, I trust the White House again, or whatever. I think we'll get there. I think we could get there. Let's see here. Barney says, this guy's dead. We should get everything as soon as they have it. Has to go to trial. Tyler Robinson has to go to trial, so they can't release it all. Let's see, anybody else? Frankie says, obviously the solution is to demonize your political opponents and call them fascists because they won't set off crazy people. All right, let's break this down. He's being a bit tongue-in-cheeky with the obvious. Anytime anybody says obvious, they're being tongue-in-cheeky. So let's read this from that. Obviously, the solution is to demonize your political opponents and call them fascist. How about pedophiles? Frank, do you include that? Because Frank, you are obviously looking at this from the perspective of somebody who only thinks it's the right who gets called mean names. libtards, pedophiles, Antifa. We're all Antifa. Anybody who's moderately, anti-MAGA, we're all Antifa. So, Frank, the spirit of your statement there is dead on. We need to stop. We need to be a little bit more civil towards one another. Spirit is dead on. However, you've got an agenda. You've got an agenda there, my guy. Adam's getting involved. Adam says you're half right. And we do have to go back to helping crazy people, but it's still important to learn about motivation. It's simple detective work. Yeah, for the detectives, Adam, not for you, not for me, not for us. We don't need to process this collectively as a nation right now and figure it out and come to, like, we're going to come to some decision. We all agree. No, we're not. All this shit does now is to serve to divide us even further. But yeah, I would hope that there will be, you know what'll happen, Adam? It should happen the way it used to happen. There will be investigations, there will be trials, and then a couple of years from now, there will be books. And maybe that book will be turned into a movie, and that's how we'll learn it all. But within the first 45 minutes, everybody's online just staking their flag, and whatever kind of monster this was is bullshit. And that's got to stop. I don't know what happened. Did I lock up? Is our stream just really shitty today? Sorry, guys. I think the stream is acting up. I seem to be glitching on my end. I'm not sure if that's happening on your end. All right, let's get into some more stuff here today. That's enough on the shooting. We don't have any more details. I've said my piece. You've heard my piece. You've been kind enough to sit and listen to my rant on the Dallas ICE shooting. Well, let's move on. Let's see. Oh, I do have to remind you here as we move forward, it is Wednesday, so that means it is Trash Trivia Night. Trash Trivia out there at Bottle Rockets in Legacy Village. Oh, Bottle Rockets is the nicest bar in North Dallas. That's right. I absolutely believe that to be true. If you have not been to Bottle Rockets, when you walk in, you're like, what is this, Vegas? What is it? What is this, a sports book at the Bellagio? It's got the best TV situation that I've seen in a sports bar in Texas. All right. Like outside, like obviously you'll see some pretty impressive sports bars if you go to Vegas. But my God, the work that they have done at Bottle Rockets in Legacy Village, yeah, it's very nice. It's very nice. We do this every Wednesday night out there. It's Trash Trivia. It's myself and it's James Parker from WBAP. He's on right now, don't you know? He's on from 2 to 5 WBAP every Monday through Friday. We're competitors. I think I'm beating them. James and I do Trash Trivia every Wednesday night. We've got prizes. We've got cool things to give away. And I was going to try and talk to Brandon. We've got a major announcement about our roaming trivia tournament. You know, on Tuesdays, we're doing trivia there at the Back Nine in Addison. We did that last night. Had a great time. Mondays, we're building a trivia night and a game night out there at Strokers. That's fun. But for those of you further north, we do this one on Wednesdays at Bottle Rockets. Today, we're going to introduce a new aspect to our show. We're going to play paper football. I'm really pushing the paper football. So here's how it'll go. I'll do like a couple of rounds of trivia. We'll do 2 rounds of trivia. Again, we have to do the 2 rounds of trivia because, I was going to try and talk to Brandon. Because we've got a major announcement. We are now sponsored. I think that's a good way to say it. We are now, or at least the trivia tournament is sponsored with a cash prize, a big cash grand prize. It is going to be over the course of the next few months occurring at different bars. You must register. How do you register? Well, here's what you register. First thing that you got to do to be able to play in this new cash tournament sponsored by, I don't even want to say the sponsor yet. I'm not even sure I can say the sponsor yet. This is why I wanted to have Brandon on. I wanted him to be able to do all of this stuff. Here's where you need to go. You need to go to bum, bum. I want to kill somebody right now. You need to go to Trash Trivia Games DFW. Okay. You got to like, you got to follow. We're going to have all the information on the tournament there, but you need to be following and subscribing to that page. It'll tell you where the tournaments will be happening from night to night. Not every night is going to be a tournament sanctioned night. So you got to know you will receive points for showing up in the tournament sanctioned nights. Big money. It's a big money grand prize. So come on out. Trash Trivia. Tonight, get it started. I'm going to have to try and call Brandon at some point again. I did earlier. Tonight at Bottle Rockets up there in Legacy Village, myself and James Parker, I believe we're starting the tournament tonight. So whoever is registered in there, they'll get the early points. Again, every time you play, you receive points. Those points can be added to your trivia totals for the grand prize awarding of the grand prize from our new sponsor. This all starts. I don't have enough details. I wish I did. Earlier today, I thought I was going to have all the details. Here we go. There he is. I was just going to try. All right. That's it. Hold on. Oh, my God. You just saved me. Brandon, we're live streaming, just so you're aware.
Okay, cool.
I was just talking about tonight at Bottle Rockets, but I didn't know what. I want to talk about the exciting new tournament that we're building. Can I go public with that today, or are we still? Go ahead. You take the floor. Explain it to the people.
So here's the deal. First of all, it's American Metal Whiskey, and they're our official sponsors. And basically, we're going to have a build-up. So each location will have a $200 cash payout, roughly about 4 to 5 weeks from now, okay? And we'll post all the details later on the social media page. And then about 2 weeks after that happens, one of the locations will be chosen, and that location will have a $500 payout. And to get to that tournament, you have to participate in the other finals.
All right. Now, we are going to, I guess you and I have to, well, we don't have to work anything out. This is your play. You will receive points every time you play, right? At a location that you can then, like if you play every night, you will get points just for showing up and participating, correct?
And we're going to take your best 3 points. So if you miss one night, it ain't going to be the end of it. Or if you do really horrible, that'll be deleted. We'll take your best 3-point nights, and that'll get you in the finals. And then what's going to happen, the night of the finals, and let me say semifinals. So the night of the $200 contest, you can show up and do a wild card and still get into the main. But those people with points, they're going to just scoot on past. They'll already be in the main event that night. Others can show up and try to get a spot.
All right. When I get a better grasp of this, I'm going to be able to articulate it in a way. But thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that. That starts tonight. We're going to be out there at Bottle Rockets in Legacy Village. Like I say, Brandon, you see a lot of bars. You see a lot of bars with the business that you do. Is Bottle Rockets not one of the nicest bars you've ever seen in Texas?
Oh, absolutely. The details, when I walk in, I notice things like the walls, the mirrors, I mean, everything to the bathroom. And that place is details from, ceiling to floor.
I like the game room they've got. They've got a game room that's actually got a beer pong table. They got multiple beer pong tables, right? I've never seen that before. Apparently it's a thing now.
You got a lot of variety of games there. So no matter what you're doing, darts have 3 or 4 dart setups that are really nice. They have the basketball hoop game. Outdoors, they got a big old patio that's beautiful. It's got a big LED screen now. And they have like the Connect 4 challenge. So there's a lot to do there.
And there's going to be a lot to do there tonight for Trash Trivia. Myself and James Parker from WBAP every Wednesday night starting at 7 o'clock. It's Trash Trivia at Bottle Rockets. And tonight we're going to unveil, first time at Bottle Rockets, our new attraction, which is a paper football tournament, which was pretty popular yesterday. There were people who wanted to play. Everybody who plays this damn game. Hold on. Got another problem with the stream. Still there, Brandon?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, hold on. Hold on. Sketchy stream. I wanted to show everybody the footage that I took last night of Bill Falk. That's right, Trivia King, Bill Falk. Wanted to show footage of him. Here we go. This is it. Hopefully we can see this. This is an example from last Act 9. This is Bill Falk taking on James Parker in a game of that table's fantastic. Brandon, we need to find the goalposts.
Yeah, I'm actually, as we're speaking, I'm looking for them right now. I think they may be in this room I'm in.
I mean, I can see how they get lost, but this is all right. Here you go. Here's Bill Falk. Look at this. Perfectly played. This is how we used to do it in the 5th grade. One. There's one for Bill. Oh, touchdown! Yeah, look at that.
Fighting for the crowd there. Did you hear that? They were nuts.
Well, people see this, and it's a slow build because they circle like vultures. They want to look at it. They remember the attraction to them is being a kid on a rainy day when recess is canceled. So you stay inside, you fold up a piece of paper, and you play tabletop football. I don't think they've ever seen an actual gridiron, an actual tabletop that is designed specifically for the playing of tabletop football, and they watch. And then all you got to do is say, who wants to play? And then they just step right up because everybody is instantly taken back to being a kid. And the other thing that I'll say about this, Brandon, and you and I played a little bit on Monday night at Strokers, it's hard. It is way harder than I remember.
Oh, it's because it's kind of slick. And you can't go over the edge on it, So that's why I put the hairspray down on both sides to help slow it down.
He does. There's a little bit of field maintenance that goes on. A little spray of hairspray in the end zone makes for better scoring. So I have seen Brandon have to do that. But here's what I think it is. None of us have any real practiced control of our finger flicks. Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't know. There's no delicate.
It's like any other sport, but you're going to have to practice, man.
Yeah, it really is. Because I realized that, like, I have no idea how hard I should flick it to make it go where I want. I flick it way too hard every time. And I think and then you just whiff. Oh my gosh, it's very embarrassing. All right.
You need to talk about, there's one before we end this topic. We need to talk about one thing about a proper flick. I've seen people doing what I call scooting. It's like a push.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know how, I guess we need to get to the governing body and figure out, like, is that allowed or not?
Well, I don't know, but I will say this. Last night, James Parker immediately instituted a new rule and a new way of playing that is a little bit different than the way you set it up. And Brandon, I don't want to bring it up to you, but I think it's better. In what James's new the way James was wanting to play last night was you get 2 tries just as you do in your way, except if you go for your second try, if you don't kick it, right, you can either try and score a touchdown or you can kick it. If you decide not to try and kick it and you do your second try and you don't score, the other guy takes the ball from that position, from wherever it is, as opposed to just everybody starting from their own end zone. That's kind of more like real football. Do you see a problem with that? I kind of enjoyed it.
I mean, it really don't. Usually they're at the other end anyway, and they're going to fall off. Half the time on their second try, they're going to fall off the edge.
Yeah, but
the passing zone.
But where I saw this. But where I saw this be really fun was on a second one, a guy whiffed and barely touched it. And then the other guy took control of the ball. And with one, I mean, he missed 2 because it's hard, but he was like right there in the end zone.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that rule. I mean, we'll have to throw it for the board and get approved. But
all right, look at this. This is like 1920 in that Canton, Ohio car dealership where the original founders of the NFL got together and hashed out the rules. That's what we're doing.
Well, there's a governing body about this. I'm sure we can implement that. I'll just talk to them. Should be no problem.
Well, if there isn't a governing body for this, there is now us.
No, there already is a governing body for this.
Well, maybe we don't recognize them. Maybe we make this our own thing.
Okay, we're gonna be deviants.
All right, Brandon, did you have something else you wanted to talk to me about?
No, just want to thank American Metal Whiskey and of course Fatal Clothing, Sacred Oils, and a few other sponsors that help make every one of these weeks happen. Yeah,
by the way, can I mention something about Fatal Clothing, who is also somebody that we use, we give away their shirts and their clothing and all that stuff. I got to compliment you, Brandon, because I've been involved with a lot of radio stations and a lot of giveaways in the marketing department. They always have T-shirts, and the T-shirts that they always give away are of the cheapest quality. These Fatal Clothing stuff, I mean, you're giving away a couple of shirts that would probably sell for $50 in a store. I mean, the button-ups, the really nice flannel button-ups that are branded with, my God, we've got good prizes. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. It makes our job easy.
Those are like the Dixon ones. They're that quality. Those stuff like $80 or something. They're 60.
Yeah, like they're like big, like motorcycle guy flannel shirts that are really nice and branded with the Fatal brand and all that. All right, that's tonight. Come one, come all. It'll be Bottle Rockets there in the beautiful Shops of Legacy. Starts at about 7 o'clock. I am your quiz master. James Parker is out there working the crowd on a remote mic, and it's a lot of fun. So we hope to see you out there.
All right, man. Later, brother.
All right, bye. There goes Brandon. All right, thank you. See there? That was awesome. He was actually listening. I was complaining that I couldn't get a hold of him, and he called right in. I really appreciate that. Thank you to American Metal Whiskey, too. Happy to be able to talk about that. And one more time, don't forget, tonight we are doing trash trivia. It'll be out there at Bottle Rockets, so don't forget. Come on by. You know what? Here, I'll lose that, and I'll put that, and we'll leave that there just as a reminder for you, and then we will get back into regularly scheduled programming. Epstein thing. So I want to talk about this. I said that there was some big breaking news that was happening today about the Epstein situation and whether or not we're ever going to get to see a release of some kind of documents that we're not being allowed to see. That's the problem. We're being told by these people that there's nothing to see here. Meanwhile, we know there's something more to see there. We know that there is testimony from court cases. We know that there are names that have been named and have been linked and have been somehow kept in the shadows and quieted from, any sort of publicity. We heard a couple of months ago from the administration that they felt it was unnecessary to sort of link some of these people. I don't think so. I don't think it's unnecessary to learn that somebody who is in a position of influence in the United States, and I don't care who they are, I don't care if they're the founder of Nike or if they're some assistant secretary in the Department of Justice, I don't care. If you are somebody in a position of influence and you had some kind of relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, I would like to know about it. Why? Because we know too much about Jeffrey Epstein. It's not to say that we're going to convict you and run you out of town and tar and feather you. No, it's just about allowing us, the public, to see all the details and make the fucking decision for ourselves. So that's why I would like to see a release of some of these Epstein documents that we know exist, simply because we know how courts work. So stop with the nothing to see here and stop with leaning into, we're just protecting innocent people who could be caught. There are no innocent people at this level, you sons of bitches. All right. So there has been this this thing. What do we call it? Not a bill, a motion, a declaration. Signees. We need signatures of congressional people in order to compel some form of hearing that will lead to a release of these documents. Congress, the people who represent us, the people who are all spun up about this, who are angry at our institutions for telling us that there's nothing to see here, these congressmen, at least a number of them, are breaking from their partisan ideologies and marching orders, and they're coming together and they're saying, we together have enough votes to make these things public. Massey, is this Massey, right? Being led by Republicans and Democrats who simply want to know who the people of influence in our nation are, who is okay with pedophiles. That's all we want to know. Who are these people that, knowing everything they knew about Jeffrey Epstein, still flew on his plane, still went to his island, still hung out at his house, met some of the victims, because that's how we're going to hear. We're going to hear names of people who are in the orbit of the victims of Epstein who have testified in court. We're going to hear about these people. What the fuck were you doing at a party where there was a 15-year-old? I want to know. I don't give a shit if you're the vice chair of the Fed right now. Fuck you. You were at a party with a 15-year-old with a known pedophile. I think we have a right to know that. And I don't think that people like Kash Patel, Pam Biondi, and President Trump have a right to shield this information from us, which is what's happening. So these efforts to get enough signatures, all the Democrats have signed. It's the Republicans. It is a number of Republicans who are defending these people and trying to get in the way of our right to know what their names are and what their the relationship was. How complicit, if at all, were they? There are Republicans who are causing this problem. That's on you guys. Us guys, whatever. I don't want to be divisive, but that is the fact of the matter. So the breaking news on this, there was a special election yesterday in Arizona to fill a congressional seat, and it was won by a Democrat, which, you know, in political circles is, you know, the canary in the coal mine. They're all like, holy shit, Republicans are going to lose all the seats. That's not the conversation I want to have. Why is this important? Because this newly elected member of Congress has pledged, first thing she's going to do is sign the Epstein document, giving enough votes for us to finally compel a release of more information, or at least that's the promise. Who knows? I mean, there will be something at the end, right? Like the promise is, well, if they just had one more vote, well, now we got the one vote. Now the one vote, for those of us who want complete transparency here, we got the one vote. All right, we did it. So now what are they going to say? What is it going to be now? Well, it wasn't just one vote. It was a... Are they going to get to one of the people who are saying that they're going to vote for the release, or the at least, more information to be known? Are they going to get to one of them? And then suddenly he, in the next couple of weeks, is going to do a press conference and he's going to be like, you know what? I don't think there's anything to see here. Maybe. Fucking anything can happen now. I don't know. Anyway, her name is Adalita Grijalva. I bailed on the last name. I went hard. I really tried to get her first name right. Adalita. And then the last name, I was like, fuck no. Adalita Grijalva. Grijalva. Adalita Grijalva. She won the U.S. House special election in Arizona, delivering a decisive signature for the Epstein file push. That's good news. Democrat Adalita Grijalva has won a special election in Arizona's 7th congressional district, which will deliver the decisive signature to the push for a vote to release the Jeffrey Epstein case files. The race was held to determine who would fill the seat vacated. This isn't a win for the Democrats. It's just another seat. So late Democrat Rep Raul Grijalva, was she related to him? I should have probably read more of this. Yeah, it looks like she's related to him. The race was held to determine who would fill the seat vacated by the late Democratic Rep Raul Grijalva. So the only reason we didn't have enough signatures moving forward is because one of the votes was dead and there was nobody that could officially sign for him. But now that we've got somebody with the same last name as him, maybe his daughter, maybe his wife, I don't know. Now that we've got somebody in that seat, now they're going to sign. I didn't realize it was that precarious. So I guess this is a big win because they ran a Republican. What's it say here? If the Republican had won, that Republican would have been under a lot of pressure to either do what the sitting administration wants, MAGA, or, sign it, be the tipping point of the release of this information. Both Grijalva, I don't care. Anyway, there you have it. Looks like we got enough signatures. We are hearing from voters that they believe the survivors deserve justice, and Congress must fulfill its duty to check the executive branch and hold Trump accountable, she said in the statement. It's a vote House GOP leaders have tried to avoid for months. Speaker Mike Johnson adjourned the House a day early in July before Congress's month-long summer recess to avoid votes related to the Epstein files. Yeah, remember that? Mike Johnson did that. So many of you guys still like Mike Johnson. I'll never forget he did that. Yeah, they were getting panicky. They were worried. They were worried that we were going to have to, we, the dirty peasants of America, were going to find out some stuff that they, the entitled elite, do not want us to know. So they adjourned Congress a day early. Mike Johnson did that. That's your guy. That's your guy. Remember how much Pelosi sucked? Yeah, this fucking guy is covering up and protecting pedophiles. I don't know if Pelosi ever did that. I know that she made some shady ass stock deals and enriched herself like tenfold. So did Trump. I mean, they're all doing it, guys. But only Mike Johnson is the one that, ended Congress a day early so that we, the dirty peasants, couldn't find out who in our government is diddling kids with Jeffrey Epstein. That's what Mike Johnson did. All right, we're going to move on from this. Anyway, there we go. We apparently got the next signature. The one we need. I got to close out some of this stuff. I got way too many open windows here. All right, let's do Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel returned last night. Did you watch it? Everybody did. I know some of you didn't. On principle. Bark, 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 bark. But, most of us, we looky-looed. Most of us checked it out. If I'm being honest with you, I did not watch it on ABC because I don't even know how. Quite frankly, I don't know how to access ABC in my house. That's probably the biggest problem for ABC, that somebody like me, who is like a television fanatic, I wouldn't even know how to find ABC network television. They don't have a platform, right? Like anything on NBC, I would know that I would just go to Peacock. Anything on CBS, that's Paramount. I can do everything through Paramount with CBS. ABC Disney, I guess that's what it is. It's Disney. There you go. So they do have a platform. It's Disney. But I don't think my Disney access allows me to watch local ABC. No, it doesn't. Anyway, point is this. I caught it on YouTube. So let's watch a little of it. But I do want to say this. Jimmy Kimmel came out last night, and I wondered, what's this going to look like? Like, here's what we think happened. He said something that wasn't at all offensive. It was provocative, and it was politically biting. And I'll also say he made an incorrect statement. Oh, my God, a comedian made an incorrect statement. Although in these times of like supreme divisivity, not a word, just made it up. Trademark. Divisivity. During this time of divisivity, there were some teeth behind his incorrect statement. He was openly blaming MAGA for the shooting of Charlie Kirk, and he did it. All right, so that's the crime. The pearl clutching and the bullshit and the people that were, I was so offended. You're pretending like he said something terrible about Charlie Kirk. He didn't. But social media does its thing, and all of a sudden everybody's outraged. And what he said, what? And people are. What he did was he incorrectly, and again, I don't know if he incorrectly did it. Point is, he said something on ABC television during a time of national mourning, or at least partly national mourning, because I'm getting a little tired of that story too. That the entire country is mourning the loss of Charlie Kirk. That is just fucking not true. Okay? The vast majority of this country is like, oh, that's a terrible thing that happened. All right, what are the Bears doing this weekend? That's the majority of the country. A whole bunch of you weirdos who are super fucking loud, and you live on social media, and everything is an absolute statement on your part. You people are all spun up. And you're talking about it, and you're talking about it, and you're talking about it. Fine. But, this whole idea that, the whole nation needs to lower their flags. What? For a YouTuber? For a political YouTuber? Ugh. So Jimmy Kimmel, flat out, didn't say anything initially that was truly offensive. I mean, the snowflake pussies got all offended, but they weren't really offended, see, because they're phonies, because they don't actually have any real emotion. What they do have is an ability to sit on deck and wait for their next opportunity to score political points at the expense of the opposition. And in this case, it's the dirty lefties. So that's why they clutched their pearls and they acted like they were so hurt by these things. And he said, look, it's not that I'm against the First Amendment, but you shouldn't be allowed to say such cruel and horrible. Fuck you. Fuck you people. He said MAGA did it. That was the problem. That's what it was. And you people used the thing you hate most. I'm talking about MAGA now. You MAGA people hate cancel culture, yet you're fucking all pro at it. You people are all pro at cancel culture. It used to be the left, but now it's the right. The people who are like, cancel culture must stop. No, I think cancel culture is cool. Let's cancel him. Like, that's what you guys do now. So he tried to cancel Jimmy Kimmel. I'm glad that in 2025, it seems like cancel culture doesn't fucking work anymore. There's an article going around today, and I mentioned this because Louis C.K.'s out talking about stuff now. Article about Louis C.K. saying that it was actually the best thing financially that ever happened to him because he was released from all of these contracts and all of these deals that he had. He had like $20 million in deals with, Disney and film and all that kind of stuff. And what ended up happening was he was released from all of that and he was allowed to go and create independent anything he wanted. And when you combine that with this new do-it-yourself YouTube kind of world, you're not splitting profits with anybody. It's all him. So yeah, fuck you and your cancel culture. If you don't like what somebody says, ignore them. But the people who typically say that kind of thing, they came after Jimmy because of something he didn't say. What he said was something that was wrong, right? You don't lose your job for that. But it was a victory, and everybody was excited. 1 week ago, I remember I walked into Bottle Rockets. Did you hear about Jimmy Kimmel? And everybody's like, yeah. Everybody very excited. Next couple of days, you go on Twitter. Everybody's like, there's another one down. There's another one who says mean things about the people I like, and now they can't say mean things anymore. America. Shut the fuck up. You never watched Jimmy Kimmel anyway. You don't watch Jimmy. I don't watch Jimmy. Nobody watches Jimmy Kimmel. That was apparent from the ratings, yet somehow they're still paying him a boatload of money. Why? Because they're still running this shell game with advertisers where advertisers are still fucking paying premium notes to advertise on network television. I don't get it, but whatever. Radio's doing the same thing. Radio advertising rates have never been higher, and the audience for radio is a third of what it was 15 years ago. So you would think the rates would come down. No, it's called milking it into death. They're just going to ride this fucking archaic radio and television. These old-timey types of tech, they're not going to invest the money into making the changes that will allow them to survive in the new digital era. No, they are just going to ride these things into the fucking ground, and they are going to pander to whatever group of people are still listening to old-timey radio and watching old-timey network TV. That's what's happening. So, the whole thing about Jimmy Kimmel, nobody was watching him. I don't know how influential he is. Still making a lot of money. And he has had the biggest and greatest career boost that anybody could have ever imagined. He is so much bigger today. Huge. I hadn't thought about Jimmy Kimmel in years. And now all of a sudden I'm advocating for him. I'm like, you can't tell somebody they can't make jokes about the president. This is America. All of a sudden I'm all involved. Let's watch how Jimmy handled this, because I was worried. I was like, is he going to come back neutered? Is he going to come back and be like, all right, everybody, I just want to say I'm really sorry. Let's, I want to apologize. I was worried that was going to happen. If that had happened, I'd have lost total respect for him. That is not what fucking happened. Thank God, First Amendment. So here, let's watch a little of this. This is how Jimmy Kimmel came back on the air last night. Oh. Sorry, we'll have to go back. There we go. Let's watch it, and I'll interrupt from time to time just to give my take on what's happening. But watch a little bit of Jimmy Kimmel's return to television last night. I didn't get to see the guests, so I don't know how it went with the guests. I just watched his monologue and the opening sketch. I was trying to get the vibe up. I want to jump in here for a minute because Ted Cruz, somebody who I think is an absolute clown show. Ted Cruz is absolutely right there. And if you are one of these people who are upset that Jimmy Kimmel got his job back or celebrated that a comedian was fired for speaking, his truth, do we say that? Satire. If you celebrated that, if you celebrated that, you're not a good American, no matter how patriotic you think you are. If you celebrate punishing comedians for jokes that you didn't find funny, you're not an American. And crazy enough, look at me and Jimmy Kimmel both were like, yeah, Ted Cruz, thank you for saying that, Ted Cruz, because people like you, Ted Cruz, need to say that, because there are way too many people who see the world the way you do, Ted Cruz, that don't agree with that. And I've seen them on Twitter. I've seen them everywhere. People celebrating. Same people who despise cancel culture, but they celebrate, when a comedian, and they make all kinds of justifications for it. Well, even I did in the beginning. I was like, Disney's allowed to make this decision. He's paid a whole bunch of money. They're not killing it in the ratings. Maybe this is their exit. Maybe this is the way they get out of the overly and unnecessarily expensive business of late night talk TV. CBS found their exit. And that's how I felt in the beginning, the first couple of days. But then it started to become clear that it was more than that. It became clear after Brendan Carr, the head of the FCC, decided that he was going to chime in. And now all of a sudden we have a completely different element. It's not just a private company deciding that they no longer want to be in the business with a polarizing, provocative satirist. No, now it's the federal government getting involved and threatening the parent company of Disney. Fuck around and find out. I mean, that's basically what this guy said. What were his exact words? Well, I think actually Jimmy's going to get into it. But that's the thing. That's what this is about. It's not about a private company deciding that they want to be out of the business of being with this person. That's fine. That's whatever. But the government, the regulatory body, which the FCC is, they cannot have any kind of influence in this way. It was highly inappropriate. And, whoever this guy is, this no-name Brendan Carr in charge of the FCC, whoever this guy is, he was on a podcast and he was talking shit because he knew who the audience of the podcast was. And the audience of the podcast was probably MAGA. So, you can say fucking stupid shit to these people. It's the guy who runs the FCC. He's not supposed to be in the business of threatening companies because of the joke like that. I didn't like I said, for those of you who think that felt that I pointed a finger. I didn't like that. You did point a finger. No, you did point a finger, and it's not a matter of how people perceived what you said. They felt a certain way about it. No, you said directly that he was MAGA, he was raised by MAGA. This is the only thing that really I didn't love about this speech. He should have said, I said something trying to be funny. I said something trying to make a greater point, and I was inartful, and I was wrong. I was wrong, and I should have been more considerate of the people who would have been offended by me making that statement. That's what he should have said there, but he didn't say that. He said, and for those of you who felt like you were, that's like when somebody apologizes to you by saying that, well, I am sorry if your feelings were hurt. Oh, fuck you. Oh, fuck you. Like you're not acknowledging that I have a right, that somehow this is a me thing, that my feelings were hurt. All right, let's continue. He was allowed to have a show like his. I mean, granted, there's a difference there. He was streaming and he's not under the regulation of the government. But that's not really, a big distinction. We have room for all kinds of shit. I never watched, I wouldn't even know what is it, charliekirk.com? I wouldn't even know how to fucking find that guy. But I was never like, he should be thrown in jail and lose his job. And I don't fucking care. I just ignored it. I ignore your Candace Owenses, and I ignore, it's easy to ignore shit that you're not into. And you're not into Jimmy Kimmel. All you people, you were being punitive. You were being small. You were being tiny, little, small, poorly formed, non-evolved people who just want blood. You don't even watch this fucking show. Ugh. So also, let me just say this. Nobody took Stephen Colbert off the air. Stephen Colbert has been endlessly slinging shit since he was fired. Stephen Colbert wasn't fired. They simply announced that they would not be renewing his multi-year contract at the end of this year, like March of next year. I mean, that was the left. I saw the left completely overreact to that. And at the same time, when this was happening, I told you what I think was happening. I think it was they were trying to get out from under an expensive late night host contract that nobody watches. By the way, don't think like Jimmy Kimmel's like nobody watches him, but conversely, everybody watches Fallon. No. Across the board, nobody watches any of these shows, whether it's Colbert or Seth Meyers or Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel. Nobody is watching these shows, and they're all super expensive. That's the decision that Paramount made. Now, was Paramount also trying to get this multi-billion-dollar merger with Skydance Media approved by the government? Yeah. Did somebody in Paramount probably go, hey, maybe we ought to just throw him a bone. Maybe we'll just, we'll announce that we're not going to renew Colbert. We were going to do it anyway because we can't keep paying this guy that for that many listeners. Like, that's what the people in charge of CBS were already thinking. There probably wasn't going to be another big multi-year $100 million contract for Stephen Colbert. Are you out of your minds? So in the midst of this whole Skydance thing with the Redstones and the people involved in the Skydance Paramount merger, you got the Redstones, you got the Ellisons. I mean, we are talking billions and billions and the most connected of the most connected. So they wanted to make sure that there were no hiccups with the federal government. And so to do this, they want to make sure that, our fearless leader thinks they're one of the team, if you know what I mean. So, I mean, I think that's what the Paramount thing was. It was outside people who drew the connection between. They fired him because the Skydance merger. No, I think they were going to fire him anyway. I think they just threw that in around the same time in order to get in the good graces of the president. Now, that is different than Brendan Carr of the FCC going on a rant about Jimmy Kimmel. That's different because he is a guy who is in charge of something for the government, right? And he's saying, I am going to now do this to this company because they didn't do what we want. That's what Brendan Carr did. The Paramount thing was just a bunch of rich people just throwing a bone. There was no demand from the government that they fire him. I mean, we don't know. Maybe it's some fancy Washington cocktail party. Somebody whispered into somebody's ear and planted that seed. But it's not the same thing. Stephen Colbert was not fired. He was simply not renewed. He has been on the air every night since he was fired, talking shit about the administration. That was a wholly concocted, pearl-clutching moment that was created by the left to warn us all that this government is coming for all of our free speech. And I kind of shrugged my shoulders and I went, eh. But then, this Kimmel thing was the direct opposite of that. The Kimmel thing was absolutely related to the government and statements made by people within the government and what they wished CBS would or ABC would do, Disney. So Jimmy just kind of fibbed again when he was like, when they took my friend Stephen off the air. Stephen was never taken off the air. Neither was Howard Stern. All of you people with your very real thing. Everything else is partisan bullshit where you either like him and you want to believe this or you hate him and you want to believe that. That's all ideological nonsense. It's all part of the divisive stew that we've created. This is fucking real. This is the chairman of the FCC saying about American broadcast or media entities, these companies can find ways to change conduct and take action. Frankly, on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead. Wink, wink. The fuck is that? He is telling these companies as a representative of the government that they must handle their talent and stop them from saying things the government doesn't like. Read between the fucking lines. That's what this is. This is real. This is real. Now, he didn't actually do anything, but he threatened it. And we got to fucking react to the threats. You got to react to the threats. Somebody threatens to fucking kill you. What are you going to do? Nothing about it? You react to the threats so that the actual thing doesn't get perpetrated. This is bullshit. I have fucking hated the FCC for years, but I've never seen anything like this. All right, there you go. That is absolutely 100% true. This person wrote, President Biden is right. Political satire is one of the oldest and most important forms of free speech. This person wrote, it challenges those in power while using humor to draw more people into the discussion. That's what satire is. That's why people in influential positions have always targeted for censorship. Who is this guy, and why can't this guy be in charge of the FCC today?
You know who wrote that? FCC Commissioner
That's right.
Brendan Carr.
That's fucking right.
Who later...
That is fucking right. The guy who's like, we could do it the easy way or the hard way. That's what this little fucking ass suck said when he was working for Biden. Now, this motherfucker's just kissing, oh, I can't handle it. I can't handle it. Yeah, that was the same guy. Same guy. 2022. Gonna die on that mountain for the protection of the First Amendment and political satire in 2022. Now he's issuing threats to Disney, saying shit like, we can do it the easy way, we can do it the... All right, there's a whole lot more. A whole lot more there. He goes on and on. He takes some, I mean, he goes hard on Trump. He goes really hard on Trump in the next segment. It was pretty, I was impressed. There was no fucking, I'm going to be on my best behavior now. Okay, you've made your point. You've neutered me. There was none of that. It was like Colbert. Colbert has gone nothing but like to the mats now. For the next year, Colbert is going to, he's not coming back. Kimmel looks like he's doing the same thing. And I applaud that. They try and shut you down with some bullshit governmental nonsense that violates your First Amendment right as a citizen of this country. Fuck them. Fuck them. They're wrong. You're right. First Amendment. That's all. That's all. Let's see. Frankie's in here. Frankie says, wait till people hear about right-wingers that were blocked from banking and canceled from Facebook and Instagram by the... Yeah, wait. I'm waiting, Frank. Yeah, you present that in some sort of legible form that didn't come from some fucking Nick Fuentes podcast. I'd be happy to look it over, but you can't. So just go ahead. Present that to me. Now, do I believe that the Biden administration is special? When was this thing with like around the, they got involved in some shit. They put pressure on Google. They made phone calls. But how does that excuse what we're talking about today? You're just engaging in whataboutism, which is a key component of this divisive bullshit, Frank. I don't need to know what Biden did. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, if we could only go back to the days of Biden. Nobody is saying that. We are dialed into what the fuck is happening right now, and we are calling it out. So stop that. That only serves somebody who is deeply programmed to be instinctively divisive. And by the way, that is another example. I always talk about programming because, I'd say a good 70% of you out here, you have no idea what's happening to you. Religion, of course, is the most classic form of programming. It begins when you're laying in your bassinet and all you see are these giant moon-faced people leaning over you saying, Jesus loves you. That's the beginning of the programming. You're a kid. You've heard this Jesus thing your whole life. You never really thought the question. That's programming. Another great example of programming that we saw today was when we were watching this ICE facility shooting here in Dallas. We talked about this about an hour ago. Very first thing was, well, who did it? Which side was he on? Was he one of us or was he one of them? Who did? That's programming. That we instinctively hear about something like this and we automatically go to what side is he on? We have been programmed. You know how I know? Because when that fucker drove his car through the Lubies here in Texas 40 years ago, nobody asked, how did he vote? That's not a thing that ever used to happen until now. We have been radically programmed to see every event in this country from the side of us or them. That's programming. Push back on it if you want. No, that's not a real thing. Okay, that's fine. You just go do you. We don't have to discuss this. Instinctively, reflexively falling into whataboutism. He said something and I think that's about the people that I support. Now I have to come up with something that demeans the other side. I ain't on the other side, bro. So stop it. And I'm not talking to you, Frank. I'm talking to everybody. This is the worst damn show. I swear to God. All right, here we go. What else do we have here? Let's move on. Anything else? Yeah, let me show you this. Let me show you this. Well, no, we'll do this story first. Okay, so here we go. It's been announced. We have robot umpires coming to baseball. Oh my God, can you hear the cries of all the baseball purists? Designated hitter doesn't belong in the ghost run, pitch clock. Yeah. I for one am ecstatic that baseball is now going to have robot umpires. Robot umpires. No, they're not going to replace all them. There's still going to be humans back there. But we're now going to have the ability to use technology to actually tell if something is a ball or a strike in the form of a review. This is a major breakthrough for baseball, unless you're one of these people who just like that there is an element to the game of baseball that allows for significant amounts of human error. Significant amounts. My God, some of the absolute worst people at their jobs in the entire world are Major League Baseball home plate umpires. I think the pecking order goes ESPN draft night expert, and then number 2 worst at doing their job in America is Major League Baseball home plate umpires. So if this is going to somehow make the game more precise, yes, it will be eliminating some of the romanticism of, that umpire, screw you, Blue. It will be eliminating that. But that's okay. You know why? Because we're in the gambling area now, fucks. That's right. It's all about gambling now, and you've got to be absolutely 100% sure. There are nobody that is going to be willing to take bad beats because some fucking umpire made a shit call. No. Major League Baseball has approved robot umpires for the 2026 as part of the challenge system. Major League Baseball will implement a challenge system for balls and strikes in 2026 after the league's competition committee voted Tuesday to usher in the era of robot umpiring. I say just get rid of them. See, we're doing this. You got to just clean the slate. I'm sorry, you got to just clean the slate. I announced tomorrow I'm Major League Baseball commissioner. I'm like, hey, everybody, thanks for coming out to my Major League Baseball press conference. I just want to announce all the umpires in baseball are now fired. Bye-bye. You're done. We don't need them. We're just going to have, look, I live on the SMU campus. Do you know how many of these little roamy robots we got rolling around? I see them every day now. It used to be, oh, cool, it's one of those autonomous delivery robots. No, now I see them all the time. Now it's just like, oh, fuck. Sitting at the light waiting for it to cross in front of me. It's actually kind of cool. But if we can have that, why can't we have that at second base? All right, not at second base. I don't know if it's going to be agile enough to get out of the way, right? I don't know. That could be a problem. You'll have your, $100 million shortstop breaking his kneecap, falling over some robot. But I do think that we don't need the dudes behind home plate. I think the dudes behind home plate can go away. I think that we just have like a robot. Just make it fun. Make it a fun robot, right? It's going to look like an umpire. It's going to have a little hat. It's going to be cool. Hitters, pitchers, and catchers will be the only ones allowed to trigger the challenge system by tapping their head. And if a challenge is successful, The pitch will be shown on in-stadium video boards. All right, so this is actually kind of cool. So the hitter, you call a third strike, strike. What? That was outside. So the hitter now instantaneously has a recourse. I guess it's tapping. The pitcher, the same thing. You say that's ball 4, and I'm like, no way, that was totally inside. I painted the corner on that one blue. The pitcher, all he's got to do is tap his head, and that's cool. I kind of like it. I'm good with it. I'm good with the pitch clock. Oh, yeah, I've been doing this show long enough that I remember night 1 of the pitch clock, and I keep receipts. I remember Jeff Ballard coming hard at me about how nobody in Major League Baseball's got. Everybody fucking loves the pitch clock. You know who most importantly loves the pitch clock? Advertisers. And the people who sell advertising for baseball. Pitch clock has sped up the game. The audiences are bigger. The in-game audience is having more fun. There's less stupid-ass fucking delays. Oh, my God. And you people were against it on day 1 because it was different. Well, I won. I won that one. Pitch clock is one of the greatest innovations in baseball. It's been 3 years now. It's one of the greatest innovations in Major League Baseball the past 100 years. And I called it from day 1. And I am calling this very same thing about robot umpires. Get out of here, Blue. I was a catcher. I hate umpires. I can't see anything. I'm right there too. I don't know how the hell you're not even. First of all, I always thought the person who calls balls and strikes should be at second base. I think they should be at second base. I think they should be looking directly. The umpire behind home plate, he loses the ball once it comes into the box. He has no fucking idea other than placement of the catcher's glove. And let me tell you, as a catcher, there are a lot of tricks that we catchers can do to fool the umpire into thinking the ball actually was caught somewhere else. So yeah, robot umpires, let's go. Here's another baseball thing. I wanted to show this to you guys. This is freaking wild. And I'm gonna show it as sort of the kicker story. The last thing that we're gonna do here today on the show. I'm gonna show it to you because I believe everybody's okay. The little bit of reporting that I've found on this story says that everybody's okay. This is the world we live in. This comes to us from Katy. I think it's outside Houston. Katy, Texas. Down there. Some baseball league. Bunch of like young kids playing baseball and coaches and all of that. Beautiful Sunday afternoon. They're going to play a little early morning baseball. It's some tournament that's going on. Some like under 18 tournament. And this is just raw video of before the game started. 3 coaches gathering at home plate, exchanging scorecards or whatever, doing the stuff that coaches do before a game. When just rando shots ring out from all over. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Kids on the field start scattering. Kids, I don't know if they're kids, probably, teens or whatever. They all scatter. And then you see this one coach who is just standing there drop. And it's like, holy fuck, did that guy get hit? Yeah, we've got a baseball coach here. Video of it. Just sitting there at a game. Gets hit by a stray bullet from, they're saying, a group of hunters. But listen to these shots ring out. A group of hunters, that's fine. Look, I'm not challenging it. I'm not, whatever. But my God, is this what a group of hunters sounds like? Because it sounds like, it sounds crazy. Sounds like a gang drive-by. All right, here you go. Oh, and also I want to point out there is one coach. I don't know what to make of this dude. He's either the dumbest MFer I've ever seen or he's the most badass son of a bitch in Texas because all of these shots are ringing out. Everybody else is running. A dude that was standing right next to him has just been shot and he's laying on the ground. And this coach is just standing there at home plate with his hands on his hips, looking around, scanning the horizon. Not a goddamn fear, not an ounce of fear in his body. Look at that guy. All right, check this out. This comes to us, as I said, from Katy, Texas. And all right, let's see here. How do I do this? How do I make this a little bigger? All right, see, I saw a little Iron Man playing. It's before the game. These coaches are hanging out here. All right, now we're hearing the shots. All right, keep listening. I mean, that sounds like a lot. Is that what hunting sounds like? Nobody's even reacting. This is the first kid to react. And I think it's because if you listen back, do we hear like are these bullets now? I mean, obviously they do because one of these coaches gets shot. But are these bullets now whizzing past these kids? And now everybody's running. Now they know that somebody's fucking shooting on this field. What the fuck? Watch this guy right here. This guy's been shot. This guy right here. See, he's kind of bent over. And look at this guy in the red. This is like the most badass man in Texas. This is a ball coach right here. But watch this. And you can't tell when he's shot. Look at this coach. Look at this guy. He doesn't give a fuck. He's got 2 ex-wives and a daughter that won't talk to him. He is not worried about this. Down. Tiger! Come here! Tiger! Just can't. I can't with this guy. He doesn't even care. All right, so now let's go back to the shot again. This guy here in the gray, this coach, he was wounded in the shoulder. He was shot in the shoulder. No more real details. Like, I don't know if it was a ricochet or if it was a direct hit. There is no point in this video, and I've watched this video over and over again. There's no point where you can determine, oh, that's where he got shot. Maybe he got shot while he was moving backwards. I don't know, but let's watch it again. And we're watching this guy. All right, see, like right now, I don't know if he's shot yet. Like, he seems to be moving back. He's moving weirdly, right? Like maybe he's stunned, like something just stunned him. And then you see he just lays down. He's like, okay. Down. And now this guy is sort of tending to him like he knows there's something wrong. And there is something wrong. That man was just shot in the shoulder. But I don't see it. All the other kids running. This fucking guy. Look at him now. I'll go to war with that son of a bitch. That guy right there, that's your buddy in the foxhole. That's who I want to be with. This guy is not going to back down. Not that the people who ran did anything wrong. The people who ran did the exact right thing you're supposed to do. This guy is doing the wrong thing if you want to survive. This guy's doing the right thing if he's looking to get involved. He's like, all right, let's go. Try and shoot me, you pussy. Going all baseball coach on him. All right, that's crazy. That's out of Katy, Texas. That was over the weekend, or at least that's how it's written on Facebook, and I don't ask too many questions. I don't like to, hang out with the people on Facebook too much. Guys, that's going to do it for today's show. I'm done with things to talk to y'all about. I do want to remind you, though, that we will be doing tonight's Wednesday night trivia out there at the Bottle Rockets. That's in Legacy Village there in Plano. So come one, come all. Team Trivia will be announcing and explaining how we get started with our American Metal Whiskey Trivia Tournament for major cash prizes. Did Brandon say what the cash prize was? Because what I've heard, I don't want to say, because if it's not that, then so I don't remember. I don't think he said it. I don't think we have the final exactly what we're going to, but big cash prizes, all for playing trash trivia. Three opportunities right now. You can go to Strokers on Monday nights. You can go to Back Nine on Tuesday nights. But tonight, it's all about Bottle Rockets, the beautiful Bottle Rockets there in Legacy Village. Right off the tollway. That's my dream home. I want to live there again. I lived in Legacy Village for 4 years. It was my favorite place that I've ever lived. I just love that little community. There's a bunch of the little apartments and townhomes, but then it's surrounded by like the best restaurants and the coolest bars. And there's a big, beautiful, Marriott Plaza Hotel in the middle of the whole thing with a waterfall or fountains. It's just very nice. It's a very nice place to live. Kind of thing you don't expect from a suburb outside Dallas. You're like, this is like a really cool city neighborhood, but it's in Plano. So come out. Legacy Village tonight, right off the tollway, 75 and Legacy. Do I have anything else that I want to mention? Boom, 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 boom. Kind of got Iron Man in my head now. That was Iron Man, right? Yeah, it was Iron Man. Okay. Yeah, that's going to do it. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. I know it was a little bit of a weird time today. As I said, we're going to try and do these shows every day. That is something that I really want to continue doing. We're going to try and sneak them in when we can, but if you happen to miss, you can like, follow, subscribe. You can find it there. Go directly to the YouTube. Go directly to the YouTube page or whatever. You don't have to listen live. You can listen later, and I hope that you do. All right, bye, folks. See you tonight at Bottle Rockets, and then back here tomorrow sometime. Bye. Stop. Hold on a second. I want to come back here. April and Bill, they make a good point. April says, where is she? Hold on, let me see. She's talking about her. April and Bill. Hold on, where is it? No, now I can't find it. I came back on. April and Bill last night. Did you guys lose? I don't remember what happened. I know there was a tie. April and Bill, who are both members of our chat room, they went up against a team that is very inconsistent. But when they're on, they're a juggernaut. And when they're not, they're, not a juggernaut. A team called M's Degenerates, who play every Tuesday night. They win a lot. They don't win every week. It pretty much moves around between April and Bill win a lot. The people win a lot. Anyway, last night it came down to a tie between April and Bill, their one team, and M's Degenerates, who are a team made up of bar regulars and bar staffers, people, the bartender and all that stuff. So it is a team that has about 6 people on it. And so I saw in the chat room that April and Bill were saying, we did really well. We're a team of 2. We ended up tying at the end of 2 rounds, a team of like 6. And I just want to say that is absolutely true. And it is always kind of not bothered me because it's trivia and we shouldn't get way too worked up on trivia. You either know it or you don't know it, right? All of a sudden now you're angry because you don't have a potential team member who might know something you didn't. Stop it, right? It's trivia. But there is something to be said for these teams that win that have like 4, 5, 6 people on it who, go up against teams of 2 people. Or in the case of James Parker, who always just wants to play by himself, which is why he never finishes in the prizes, 1 person. So I did want to give credit to April and Bill for being the Misfits is their team. They're incredibly competitive week in and week out. And sometimes they have to go against teams that are 2 and 3 times as many people as them. All right. So we'll see you out there tonight at Bottle Rockets. Bye, everybody.